Hi, my name is Colleen. I work at I've Squared with the EIR Entrepreneur in Residence, Marina. She's going to be here for 9 months. This is her first series of programs, and today we are doing another free resource, sort of like overview of this time. The topic is prototyping. So I'll give Marina the floor.
Sweet. Hey everyone, my name is Marina Marmolejo, like Colleen mentioned, and we're going to be talking today about prototyping. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, prototyping. If you don't even know what that word means, that's totally fine. Basically, it's just a fancy design term for creating the images that you want to eventually lead into something, right? A lot of the time, people will prototype an app or they'll prototype a website. And so we are just creating the screens, designing the images that will eventually go into the bigger product. So I am the founder of DreamKit, so that was my pathway into entrepreneurship. It is a tech nonprofit for young people experiencing homelessness. And because I'm the founder of a tech nonprofit, you would think, oh, she probably knows how to code. Oh, she probably knows some sort of like computer languages. That's absolutely not the case. I had an idea, I had a passion, and I was able to prototype my ideas, right? And share it with the development team, people who, you know, at Yale, for example, majored in computer science. They took my ideas, they saw my screens, they saw my prototypes, and they were able to actually develop it into an app. So all of that to say, you do not need computer science background, but you do need to know a couple of pretty like high level terms in order to communicate with your development team. So if you are interested in creating an app, awesome. Let's just learn the basics now, and then you can continue this journey on, and I'm more than happy to help you. But don't be intimidated. Anyone can do it. Just take some time and some passion. So prototyping. So today we're basically going to look at how to design your ideas in Figma. Figma is one example of many different, websites and softwares that will help you create these screens. The cool thing about Figma is that it's web-based. So you can access it on the internet and don't have to have, a bunch of free space in your computer to download a huge software that's going to take up a lot of data. Figma's web-based, and what I really appreciate is that because it's online, you can send your Figma link to different creatives and your design team, your development team, and everyone can be on the same document at once, editing in real time. So that's pretty exciting. I'll show you all what that looks like now. But like I said before, there are a couple of words that you need to know before you start the prototyping process. One of them is wireframing.
Can I just say, Cons not cute is my favorite part of this page.
So wireframes are basically like the skeleton of what you want your website or app to look like. So you don't have to add colors, you don't have to have images. It's just basically the draft version in the lowest, they call it lowest fidelity form. And some benefits, right? Saves you a bunch of time. You're just drafting out what you want your app screens to look like. If you're a writer, for example, for like movies or shows or cartoons, whatever, you'll usually wireframe the different scenes of your story. So it's basically storytelling in different screens or in different frames. So for an app, for example, right, you need a screen for onboarding, right? You need a login screen. You need, Facebook has like an add friends screen. It has a messaging screen. And so when you're wireframing your idea, you just got to think about what is the user experience or the customer journey of your app or of your website, and how are you filling that out with wireframes. So again, it helps to see the logic behind your story, behind the experience of your app, and super cheap, quick, down and dirty. Colleen mentioned the cons is just not cute. Some people get pretty intense with their wireframes, and they can be beautiful and aesthetically pleasing, but a lot of the times you just want to create let's say 10, 20 wireframes, the story of your app, the story of your website, and then get immediate feedback on it. So with wireframing, you're including as many thought partners in this experience as possible so they can go ahead and give you that immediate feedback. You can switch up your wireframes depending on what people have taught you and their reactions. This is a really good opportunity, wireframing specifically, to go out and show these to your potential customers, show these to your potential users and say, hey, I have this app idea, I have this website idea. This is what I'm thinking the experience would look like. Here are my wireframes. What do you think? And this is, a good feedback loop. I see that we're streaming on Facebook. So hi, everyone. My name is Marina Marmolejo. I'm the new entrepreneur in residence at the New Haven Free Public Library. Today we're talking about prototyping. So if you're interested in creating an app, creating a website, this is how you do it. And I'm going to show you some resources, specifically Figma, on how to start that journey and to start creating.
Hey, Marina, I have a question. So you were saying once you do the wireframes and once you take us through and you show us all of this, the final product, what are you thinking people should do with their final product? Is this something that you should put on a GoFundMe? Is this something that you should know someone to reach out to or find someone to reach out to help you on the back end? Like, this is the work we're doing, but what do you do with this work afterwards?
I love that question so much. For me, I recognized in telling people about DreamKit, right? So the app that I started, the human brain reacts differently to images and to something that they can touch, to something that they can interact with. And so wireframing and prototyping in general, let's say for an app idea that you have, is going to help bring people to your team and to understand your idea a little bit better. This could be potential investors. This could be potential team members. This is you at the early stages communicating, and I'm just going to use the app example for the rest of this workshop. This is you communicating the initial ideas of your app so that people can play with it, can engage with it. And so later on, I'll show you with prototyping, you're basically creating an app without the code behind it. So because you're creating the pictures, with prototyping, you can actually click on images of the screen and it'll take you to different screens, which feels like an app. It is really, really cool. So because it feels like the real version of the app, people will be able to see your idea in real time, in real life.
And you would suggest doing this on the computer, just so I know, because you are creating an app, but this is like a mobile product. If you are creating an app, but like setting it up, you're using a computer first.
Yes. Okay. So Figma, you can edit and create on phone or on a computer. It's easiest just to do it on a computer. And then the
bigger screen,
end product, the screen actually looks like the screen of a phone. So I'm going to keep going and it'll make so much sense when we look at it. This is an example of wireframing, right? You can even jot notes down. That counts as a wireframe. It doesn't necessarily have to be always on a computer. But again, right, the skeleton, quote unquote, low fidelity version. And then you can bring your ideas to a website like Figma, start crafting, creating images and shapes and shadings. And then at the very end, it looks like a high fidelity version of a screen of an app. So that's the journey from low fidelity to high fidelity. And then today we're going to be talking about Figma, right? So I basically describe it as a designer's playground. You can create wireframes for your app or your website, and it's web-based, so anyone can work on it at the same time. This is what Figma looks like. We're going to go in and play around, but basically you can create iPhone or Samsung screens and then just start adding text and adding colors and adding pictures and playing around with what does one screen, 2 screens, 3 screens look like, and start connecting them together.
You have to specify which phone.
Yeah, and I'll show you because it has different dimensions for different phone screens.
Oh, okay.
This is a picture of what prototyping looks like on the back end. So all of these blue lines, basically you as the designer say, okay, when someone's on this screen and if they touch this button, it's going to take them to this next screen, right? So this is a pretty complex prototype. I'll show you some of DreamKit stuff. It's not this complex. But as you can see, if we have an app and let's say we're on like the Facebook homepage, any button that we click is going to take us to a different site. So this is the visual representation of, you know, clicking on one button leads you to so many different screens and pages on an app.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay, so let's go to Figma.
Does it help if you have website design background like we were going over yesterday, like to learn Wix, to learn Squarespace, and then start doing something like this?
So for website development, no. I think to have a keen eye on what looks good on a website, that's more helpful. And for someone who's never developed an app before, really good advice that I got at the beginning was saying, hey, people like Apple, companies like LinkedIn, companies like Instagram, these huge names, they pay their designers who create the screens of their apps and of their websites so much money to do pretty simple screens, right? Like when you first log on to Instagram, it's not complex. So you maybe have a couple of options, maybe type in your name, your email, that's really it.
And then when they change it, everyone freaks out.
Everyone freaks exactly, everyone freaks out. And so if we think about how simple all these screens are, but so much research, psychology, understanding your customer, all that research has gone into creating these very simple screens. So the advice that I got at the very beginning of my DreamKit journey was saying, hey, just look at what other companies are doing and try to have that inform your screens at the very beginning. So really what I did is like screenshotted some of the screens that I liked from Instagram. And I mean, at the beginning of DreamKit, we wanted to have this mentorship opportunity. So to connect youth with mentors in the community. And so I thought, okay, what apps connect strangers really, really well? And that's like the dating apps, you know? So like Bumble and well, the other ones. And so I downloaded those dating apps and took screenshots of their beginning screens and then just tried to copy what those look like for DreamKit of the mentorship piece to myself.
Yeah, because I was just thinking Goodreads is a big app for people, and a lot of ebook reading apps are big for like what I was looking into for like making a book related, like a thrift bookshop type of app. So that's a really good idea, is like going to iPhone or going to Samsung app, Google Play or whatever, and seeing what the top most popular ones are, because I'm sure Bumble is up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And because most apps look the same, right? There's usually a home navigation bar. There's usually like on the top left, if you want to go back to a screen, that exists. And so when you're designing an app, like don't get too different, because our brains are already accustomed and wired to be like, okay, and when I'm looking at an app, I'm probably going to look at the top right corner for an X to cancel out of something. And so
that is so smart. Don't recreate the wheel. Yeah.
Don't recreate the wheel. Don't create that. For example, that X in the right top corner. Don't put that in the bottom left. Like people aren't going to be looking for it. And so a lot of app development is remembering human psychology and human expectations for when they download a new app, because the fallout time, right? If you create a new app and people aren't even getting to like the third, fourth screen that you've created because it's too complicated and too different, then you're losing huge opportunities. So it's like maintaining your own sense of independence and creativity while also acknowledging there are rules and guidelines that people already are thinking about when using an app. So finding where that sweet ground is. Okay, all of that to say, this is Figma, and it's a blank screen, blank opportunity to start creating your screens. I'm going to, on this right panel, and when I click an iPhone 11 screen, right? Oops. The
dimension. So you really can. So if you make one, does it adapt it to the different ones?
Can you reword your question?
So if you make one phone screen type of app and then you click a different phone, do you have to start over, or it just adapts it to that screen?
Yeah. There are ways where your design can be replaced different dimensions on different screens. Yeah, that's definitely cool. Okay. So I just created 3, iPhone 11 Pro Max screens, and now I can start to really add on what I want the screen to look like. Before I do that, I'm actually going to show you what what our designers at DreamKit are doing right now. So they created this on Figma, and this is the prototyping view of it. So for example, this is the home screen, right? You click sign up, and I'm literally clicking on things like an app, right? The yes, submit, and the screens are moving in a way where I feel like this is a real app. Right, what's your email, enter your verification code, and all of these are just pictures of what we think the app what we want the app to look like. Our design team then sends this prototype or these pictures to our software developers, and they can actually put code to the pictures.
So are your software developers where all these emails would live? Like when people sign up, does that go to your website? Is that automated? Like where does it live? It doesn't live on Figma, right?
No. Figma is just for designing what the screens look like. And then developers have a bunch of different like databases that they can store the data, and then you just choose based off of pricing what you want to use. So yeah, there's a lot to play with.
Actually, what was that site we talked about yesterday with color palettes? I want to mention that again.
Coolers.co. So it's COVID testing came up first when I typed in C. That's funny. Coolers.co, Colleen. So it's right here. I'll put it in the chat.
Sorry.
Do you see it?
I do. So this is great for apps too.
Yep.
I'll put that in the chat. Oh, did you?
No. Can you put it in the chat?
Yeah, for sure.
So that prototyping end product that I was just showing, this is what it looks like from a Figma dashboard, right? Here's all the screens. If you go to the top right, the present, that's where we get this view, right? Presenting it in like a phone version. But before that, this is what we are working with right now, right? So these are all the blank screens. And I'm curious, we can do like a book example if that feels helpful. And I'll just do 3 really basic screens and show you how the prototyping feature works. So Colleen, let's do Colleen's collection. And that's going to be the title of this main page. So I went to the top right to include text. You can do shapes. Over here, this circle icon. So if we add a rectangle, this is what, and then I can just, boom, add it here. If we want this to be like the home navigation.
This is a lot like Canva.
It's a lot like Canva, yes. I definitely agree.
Great. So if you have like a Canva basis or you've done that before, this seems like it would be pretty intuitive.
It is intuitive. And here, let's see. It is, and there is a learning curve, right? Like recognizing that this could feel overwhelming at times. So we can do, like if we want to create a button, if I want to just do a little circle, right? And I can change colors on the top, on the right-hand side, right panel. Here's all the different colors. And if we went to our coolers.co website and said, all right, we want our color palette to be, I'm just clicking space.
I like that one.
This one, beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to copy and paste the color number. I'm going to go back to my Figma and I'm just going to paste it right here. And there it is. Perfectly
cool.
Perfectly changed. Let's see. If I wanted to do Colleen's collection, what are the different types of books that you have?
Oh, you can do lots of genres, or you could do it by year.
Ooh. Whatever you want. What do you think?
Let's do it by year, just because, I mean, this is just a prototype basis. This is not going to be anything I'm using. I'll have to go in. But let's do like 1700, 18 to 1850. 1850 to 1900 and then up like that.
Beautiful. So I'm just copying and pasting new ones,
Okay, cool.
1850 to 1900, and then we'll just do like 1900 to modern day. Okay. Yeah. So these are our categories. You'll see that when you're moving text around, it'll automatically show you what's the best format for it, right? So on the left side, it's saying, hey, if you leave it here, it's all going to be left aligned. So that's helpful. If I want to highlight all of these and make them a little smaller, the right panel, I can make them all a 20 font, right? Realign them. And then with this icon, I can actually change the color, or I can add an image in here.
Oh, cool.
So when I click on this.
Does this have an image library, or would we be using pixels?
Nope, you would use your desktop.
Or like whatever, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So when I went to the right panel, instead of filling it with a color, I wanted to fill it with an image. So before, we can fill it with, right, all these colors are changing and the circle's changing. But I'm like, okay, I don't want a solid color. Let's put an image in here, choose an image, and it would just be something on my desktop. Yeah. So I downloaded some like clothing designs. So we can just have that here. And so you see how I
can edit it.
Yeah, I basically just dropped in a picture.
Yeah.
And so if we wanted to, I held down the Alt button, and it's basically just copying the same image multiple times. So there's quick commands. We can go over what those look like later if you wanted to do this more in depth. But I'm just kind of playing around with it. And actually, I'm going to share in the chat. I went up to the top right-hand corner and click share. And I'm saying anyone can, instead of view, can edit, right? And then I'm copying this link. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat. You guys can hop on this.
Yeah, that's great. And also, as far as the 3 parts we're going to be talking about, we're doing design, prototype, and impact. Is that the 3 I'm seeing?
Yeah.
Okay, so those all kind of work together. Like if you make the design, then you do like the prototyping where if you click here, it goes to this page and like that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So that's the file that I'm working on right now. If you guys both want to hop on it.
Yeah, let me hop on.
And you can see what I'm doing. But then, so we'll get to the prototyping right now.
Oh, it's having me log in. Should I log in with Google, or did you share it? Did you share it to my email?
That probably means you'll have to create a Figma account. Which,
okay, yeah. I mean, I'm planning on making one anyway, so.
Okay, so this is basically the most basic screen. And if I wanted to say, okay, let's just copy all of this, the top part. And so we'll say, if anyone clicks on the 1700s button, Colleen, what messaging do you want to pop up?
How about check out this catalog of our 1700s books?
Okay, so let's just say this is the message that pops up. So for the sake of time, I'll show you how to connect 2 screens via prototyping. So at the top right panel, we've been in this design feature the whole time, adding pictures, adding text, colors, shapes, etc. When I go to now the prototype section, we can start connecting the screens. So let's say I'm thinking if someone clicks on this picture of the 1700s, I'm going to drag, see this plus button, I'm going to drag it to the second screen, which I'm basically telling Figma, if anyone clicks here, it's going to take them to the second screen. Or if anyone clicks on the 700 number, it'll also go here. right?
Cool. Yep.
Yeah, and we can say, we can get a little more fancy with it. If people tap or if they drag, so that's kind of like on dating apps, right? Because those are top of mind.
Yeah.
If you are swiping, then it goes to different screens. It's not just a tap. So that's where this feature is. It's a tap.
Yeah, because that one's crazy, because if you tap versus swipe, you have to, like, if you swipe
It's
right
different.
versus swipe left, that's the whole thing. Yeah,
Right.
interesting.
So the way we experience different screens and the motions that we have to do on the screen to get there have all been programmed and have all been thought about. So now,
I mean, left means no for dating apps. I mean, that's, everyone knows that.
It's right. I mean, it's totally up to you to design the experience of people like entering into your app. So to keep it really basic, we did on a tap, it goes to this right screen. So now we can click play and view what we've prototyped so far.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome.
So this looks like a phone. It looks like an app. Oh, this is something that I was doing before, and I will. This is what I did right below here, because I was going to show you all something a little different. I don't know why this isn't working.
Oh, it's like the same screen you were using before.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
I'll show you what I did below here. Oh, yeah. I get it. Here we go. Okay. Okay, this is literally what we just created. Colleen's collection, there's a bunch of different buttons. And then with prototyping, we said that if anyone clicks on this picture or the 1700, it'll take them to the next screen. And that's what happens. So very basic, but just prototyping, right? Connecting the different screens. There are thousands of, YouTubers and Figma expert supporters that can help you really advance the look of your screens.
I have a question. So who would you suggest making an app for? Because I know you can do website design with this, you can do prototyping of other things, but would you, like, if you are an entrepreneur and say you own a small business, how important is it to, I mean, you want a web presence, so you're going to have a website, but like, what would be the benefits of having an app that you've created?
Yeah, that is a great
DreamKit, I mean, you're looking for signups. Like, if you have like a blog or a newsletter, you're looking for signups, you're looking for that. So like apps would maybe work for that.
I think if you are to create an app, in addition to already having a website, it has to be really intentional, right? Because you're creating more steps for your customers or for your users, which look like going to the actual app store, downloading your app, signing up with an account, and all of those points are opportunities to lose interest. Like, your customers are going to lose interest if it's not done in a really sleek, beautiful way. I mean, I'm sure we've all downloaded an app and then the sign up process was kind of confusing and we're like, I'm done, I'm over it. And then you just delete it automatically.
It's good, I would think, to have a website and an app, because I know I see that all the time where they're like, download our app or go to our website. And sometimes the mobile version of the website isn't great. Like for your banking app, you would want the apps. So like that makes sense to have both.
And as either a solo founder, maybe you have one other co-founder, if you create a website and an app, both of those have to be managed, right? Like, you're creating more work for yourself. And so you need to really reflect and think, in creating an app, am I providing a new service or a new benefit for my customers? If
you're kind of creating a community, it looks like almost like you want these people to have you on their screen, like check it often, like that kind of thing.
Right. And if you're just mimicking the experience of your website through an app, maybe that's not where you focus all of your efforts and time at the very
maybe pick one or the other.
Pick one or the other. But if you're super sold on, I think an app does very different things than what my website can do right now, then absolutely, like, follow through with that. For Figma in general, this could be a way for you to create the screens and then go out and ask people, is this something you would download? Is this something?
This seems like it would be great for a GoFundMe. Like if you are looking like a Kickstarter, like something where you're looking for investors, or you have a grant opportunity, like having this in your back pocket seems like it would be so much more prepared than just images you've created in Microsoft Word.
Absolutely. And when I showed you that prototyping, right, and then the screen got bigger, there's a black background, and then your screens actually showed up on what looked like a phone. Yep. Exactly what Colleen is saying. Those are great to download for yourself and put those in your slide deck, your pitch deck when you're talking to investors, because it just gives you more legitimacy, right? I've thought about my app. I know what the screens are going to look like. I know how they're going to advance, step by step. This is me showing you visually the customer experience on my app, and it just looks more professional. And so for the first year in DreamKit, we didn't even have our web-based app, but we had mock-ups, which is basically just the screenshots of our prototypes that we used to pitch, that we used to show to grants, that we...
I remember when you were just starting with this, and it was like coming into I Squared, and it was like the app's coming and like all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And the way people perk up when you can actually show them what your screens look like. And with Figma, I'll share my screen again, but that share button, you can send that to people in live time during your presentation. So you for example, I'm talking about DreamKit, I'm showing you the screens, and then at the end, I send you a direct link to the Figma and say, hey, no, you go ahead and you play around with it, and you kind of go in advanced screens. And so when people do that, they just remember you more.
And that's what we're doing with the library website actually now. I guess we're not announcing a new website yet, but like working behind the scenes and then prototyping with people, getting community input on how things work heuristically and stuff is really important.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think for you just in general, if Figma is something, if you never even wanted to create an app, I think Figma is a free resource just to kind of dip your toes in it, and it'll always be there.
Yeah. That's so cool. And so do you have any other prototyping websites you want to mention?
So a software that, it's not a website, it's Adobe XD. It's also free. And so that's what I use for the
What is it called?
DreamKit, Adobe XD.
Okay, just putting that in the chat.
Yeah, perfect. Adobe XD, you sign up with your email. It's a part of the Adobe suite, but it's free, so you're not paying crazy.
Adobe XD.
Ooh, sorry about that. I'm putting it in the chat on my phone.
Oh, thanks, Colleen. Those are the two I recommend off the top of my head. And
that's great. Okay, cool. I didn't know Adobe had free software for that. I know they have Spark, which is free, and that's like a separate thing. But XD, that's very cool.
Yeah. And some of the stuff that we were talking about earlier in the week, right? For icons, noun project, or
noun project,
yeah, or flat icon. All of those could be used and downloaded into your Figma so that you can start creating navigation bars, or if you want your buttons to be icons instead of pictures, you can just go ahead and download those straight on there.
So there's so many options. That's really great. It is like Canva for app development. That's awesome.
Exactly. I love how you put that. That's exactly it. And I think more so than Canva, if you two were to log on to this Figma right now, I can see your cursor. I can see you editing.
It's more interactive, yeah.
More interactive. So
that's really cool.
I've even had meetings with people where they're like, hey, just hop on this Figma. And we were in there just writing notes about our conversation. It doesn't have to be about app development or website development. It could just be a creative space where 2 people, 10 people are on it together, growing ideas, sharing and sharing experience.
Like Google Docs, like you're like editing in real time all together.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
Very cool.
More visual.
Very helpful.
So I feel like 30 minutes is doing Figma a disservice. And this is something that you just got to play around with. Just go in there, have fun. And then I would love to continue teaching you more features.
If I end up doing this, I mean, I'm going to book your office hours. I've never booked an EIR's office hours before.
It would be so fun. Even if you don't want this to go anywhere, the skill
of having it,
having and understanding the background of what's happening when apps are being built, right? The mindset that it takes to be like, okay, a navigation bar, and okay, when I swipe this way, it goes here. Like, we're starting to think like a computer and to think like an app. And
it'll be helpful for business consultations, because I know if someone came to me with this, I'd go, hey, our EIR, she's made an app, like, let's send her that way. But it's great for me to know more about like how to promote your business than just social media, and know more how to just make a website. So like these little tidbits of like stuff that I don't even know is like fantastic.
Beautiful. There's so much out there, and it's all so free.
So what are we talking about tomorrow?
Project management. So how to manage time. There's so many things to be done.
And that's great if you have a team, because we know entrepreneurs a lot of times are by themselves, but as you grow, you have the experience with this. You have a team of like 40 people now.
Exactly. And if people can't visually see progress or see tasks, it's so easy to feel overwhelmed and
we've definitely worked with different platforms as part of the library team, because I belong in a bunch of different teams, and it just keeps everything so much straighter, deadlines, that kind of stuff. It's like you're not emailing this file to this person, you're just putting it in this place. So I'm excited to see what ones you've brought up as examples.
Yeah. And I'm going to give a bunch of different options, because it works differently for different folks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. That's what
I'm going to put your office hour link. So it's bit.ly, https://bit.ly/EIR_office hours.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll put that in and also these are all being recorded. So these will be uploaded to our YouTube, so people can watch them if they forget or they didn't get to check the whole thing, watch them on their own time. So we are doing Facebook Live now. I know we had like 3 or 4 viewers at our top. So hello, and thank you for joining. We have Lizette every day, which we love. And if you want to come to tomorrow, you can register. You can just hop on the Zoom. You can hop on our Facebook Live, or you can watch this eventually next week, I think, when we have all of them up.
Cool.
I have a question. So you have a YouTube channel where these are recorded and you can replay at your leisure.
Yes,
what is it? Just NFHPL YouTube channel?
So I think it's I've Squared. So actually, if you search I've Squared on YouTube, it should come up as the channel, because we actually have multiple channels for the library. So if you search I've Squared, you'll be able to find it. And these come up almost like a couple days, if not the next week. But they're all going to be under the EIR folder.
Okay, I see it here. You've got 65 videos and 7 subscribers. Well, 8 now.
Honestly, it's one of those things where we also have them in our Facebook catalog. So we have them living in 2 places. So we try and get like the numbers of people that watch it from both places.
Sure. Yeah.
All
okay.
right.
You've got a new subscriber.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.